Hello and welcome to the Zwift Hill Climb Racing Series. The aim of this event is to set the fastest time on the hill climb. Because only the KOM time counts, you can take it easy both before and after the climb. You do not need to race straight out of the start pens. Good luck with your climb.
Welcome for those of you new to my channel. Welcome, and those returning, welcome back. I appreciate your viewership. This, as the announcer said, this is Zwift Hill Climb Series. Something that I was nervous to take on because I didn't feel like I've got the experience and the legs to take on a climb this long, it being the Volcano KOM. I've done it in the past prior to getting my smart trainer, when I had my fluid trainer, and I was able to get to the top multiple times, but it was still very hard. And so being on a smart trainer, especially when I keep my trainer difficulty set to 100%, I knew that it was going to be harder than I imagined. I've gone up the regular KOM numerous times. I'm feeling better with that, but it's still very difficult for me to do that climb, whether it's the forward or reverse route. And so taking on this series was more of a, I saw someone else do it, and I wanted to jump in and do it myself. So the video that I'm referring to, and I'll post a link in the cards, is the Ride with Grebin. He did a video on some tips on how to accomplish the Zwift Hill Climb race. And so after watching his video and seeing not only how much power he has to do the climb, but seeing how this climb is not about who gets to the line first, but more so, who does the climb the best. I was like, okay, I can do that. I can save my effort for the climb. So as we start off here, you can see, I didn't know this at the time that there were 4 robot cyclists, but those 4 robot cyclists took off, and it blew my mind because all I saw was them like a blur just disappear into the distance. And so, in doing with his tips, or following his tips, he mentioned, not to put out any serious effort up front, just kind of warm the legs, get the blood flowing, get the heart rate going. And that's what I did. So I knew I didn't need to start off fast. I didn't need to go out the gate doing, 500-600 watts to try and keep up with the front group. So took my time. I'm just going to hover here in that, 140, 150 to not only keep my heart rate low, but also keep my energy up until I can get to the climb. And then last thing I'll mention here before I fast forward into the future is I don't really recon these courses. I don't look at the maps. I don't, go to Zwift Insider and check the, what the route looks like and, all that. So I kind of ride, based off of how the bike trainer gives me feedback. So if I feel like it's getting harder, then I will push harder to keep my steady flow. If it's easing off, then I ease off as well, which doesn't help me in some of the races, but in a race like this, because it's a hill climb, it's, a little bit more intuitive for me. And so that's what I did. I cruised along, as I was paying attention to the top right where it showed the incline. And as the incline went up, I would adjust my gearing so that way I can kind of keep this same, low pace, low energy flow, so I can save myself for the climb itself. So as I'm cruising along here, I'm thinking like, man, I must be the last person, in this stage, just chugging along. And then as you see down below, this rider comes up quickly on me and passes me. And at that point I was like, oh, I'm for sure the last person here. But still just kept focus on what, Grebin said, just focusing on, I don't need to rush. I don't need to try and be first. I just need to, save my energy for the climb. And so that's what I kept reminding myself of. Just save my energy for the climb. I will get there. There's no time limit on the stage. Just focus on, getting up that KOM. So at this point, I'm thinking like, man, when am I going to get to this climb? I'm already 7 kilometers in. I wasn't sure how many times we're going to loop around the Volcano circuit and what path I was going to take. And so I'm just kind of, in that mental fog of, where am I going? What am I doing? Because like I said before, I don't recon these stages, which obviously is not a good thing. It just is what it is. Until I made this left here, and I'm like, oh, are we gonna start the climb? Like, is this it? Is it happening? And of course, I'm looking at the screen and seeing that, hey, the climb meter's starting to come up in the distance, and so that's when I, put it into gear and went for it. So my intended focus on this climb was to try and stay around 300 watts, because I feel like that would be a good pace for me. Like I mentioned before, because I don't have my trainer difficulty set to 100%. When I go downhill, I lose a lot of wattage on that part of the course, so I end up having to push, I feel like push a little bit harder going downhill than I do going uphill. Obviously on this part, I came out really strong and I felt good. I was pushing, mid threes, 300 watts, and I was definitely feeling good. I, felt like I could hold that for quite a bit. And anytime I'm doing a climb, I'm looking at the wattage and I'm looking at the map on the top right. I'm looking at the gradient profile. That's the word I'm searching for. So I'm looking at the gradient profile, looking at, when is the next, change in elevation going to happen? If I, like, knowing that it's going to, the elevation's going to decrease a bit, then I need to push a little bit harder to maintain my pace. Or if it's going to increase a bit, then I need to look at shifting down so I can not only continue my pace, but not exert all my energy on trying to, put a higher wattage that I'm not able to maintain. And so those are really the couple things I'm looking at. And then, have good music in my ear to keep me motivated and keep me focused. And just, that's really where I stay at, is looking at my watts, looking at the elevation, and just back and forth, and just, feeling my legs and hoping that, I can keep the pace up. As you'll see, my heart rate is in the 170s, and that's the one thing I noticed on this climb is my heart rate was staying in the upper 160s, 170s, and I felt like I was out of breath, but my legs felt good. Like, I felt like I could push harder, but I couldn't get my breathing and my heart rate to not necessarily cooperate, but I kept losing control of it. And so I feel like that hindered me a bit, but thankfully I'm riding an excellent bike and a wheel combination, the Felt AR, which is absolute favorite bike so far, and the DT Swiss 40 mil wheels which I feel like are the best combination of aero and lightweight for a climb like this. And so you'll see at the end, I definitely feel like that combination is what led me to being able to accomplish this climb in the way that I did. So getting into this cave here, I knew that I had to push it a little bit harder than just letting myself ease back on the wheel or on the pedals, because it being 0%, I can lose a lot of time in this one spot. And it's generally where I lose the most time is in these flat areas, because I slow down significantly because I don't want to change. I don't want to put out too much effort and waste my climbing energy on the flats. But I knew that I had to keep my momentum in order to get a good time. So I just kept a little harder on the pedals than I normally would. So when I saw that I was about to pass this person, it was the first time in this climb where I felt like I was doing better than what I thought I was doing. All the time leading up to this, I was thinking like, okay, I'm doing good, but I was hoping to maintain 200, upper 200s, low 300 watts. And when I started getting into this upper 200s, I was feeling good. I knew I could, keep pushing, even though, like I said, my legs were feeling good. My lungs and my heart were maxed. I felt like I could not keep pushing myself that much harder. So I would do these little spurts of push hard, ease up, push hard, ease up. And it just so happens that when I passed that person, I, the first time I was like, okay, I'm doing good. I'm or at least I'm doing better than I thought I was at the moment. So. this point, I was starting to wonder how far I was from the top. Because again, I'm not exceptionally familiar with, with the exact, like, how many kilometers in, the ride is, and, how far I've gone and how much more I have left, that type of, I feel like, that's a skill set that I see others have. But I realized as soon as I started to see the gradient change and the elevation get higher, I was like, okay, I think this is it. I think this is the last, coming to the last corner. And so I knew I needed to push as hard as I could to maintain my pace, knowing that at, this point, there's an incline that, is exceptionally steep. And so as I was looking at the map on the right, I saw it coming up, and that's when I knew that, okay, I'm getting closer to the end. I gotta keep going until I get to the top. And as you see, I get up, on the pedals, and the whole time I'm looking at the map on the top right and just waiting for that gradient to get to the flat part, get to the, go from 10% down to, back down to 0. And so I just kept on looking at it and thinking like, okay, I can get to the top. I can just go a little bit more, get to the top, and, keep pushing myself to get all the way up as hard as I can. And right as that gradient started letting off, then I pushed a little, my legs spun a little faster than I had planned. And that's when I knew I was there. And so crossing this line and seeing, obviously you can't see it on this view because my video covers the chart on the left, but when I crossed the line, it showed that I was first, and I was absolutely ecstatic. I couldn't believe that I, at that time had the KOM. I was, obviously for Cat D racing, not only first time in the Cat D race, which I feel like is my appropriate category at the moment, but I could not believe that I was there. Knowing how many people were ahead of me and knowing, how few people I actually passed, I thought, for sure there was going to be stronger riders at that, at that point. And obviously there is, different category riders in this ride as well. But I was excited to get up to the top, and ultimately get, a way better time than I did the last time I did this climb. My last time coming up this climb, like I mentioned before, was without a smart trainer, and I did it in just over 12 minutes, 12 and change. And this time around, I was able to get up it in 10:51. So absolutely excited, absolutely relieved. As you can see from the video, I'm just ecstatic that, in a way, I was in disbelief that I actually, that I got first place. That, not only did I finish, because I really, truly didn't know if I would make it up to the top, especially with that last 10% climb. That's always the hardest part for me. I always have to stop right after this bridge here because it gets so steep. And so being able to finish it, I was absolutely ecstatic and in shock at the time. So there you go. I will, fast forward to basically to the end so you can see the results. If you stuck with me this far, appreciate it. Leave any tips, comments, anything you want in the comment section. And I hope to see you on the inside if you're another Zwift rider. Take care.